Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fine Arts Visual. My name is Samantha Kozakowski, and I am one of the instructors of fine arts at BB. I mostly teach online now because I am currently living overseas. However, I have also taught with Heber Springs and Little Rock Air Force Base. So if this is your first time taking an online course, or you feel rusty getting back to school after a long break, or maybe you're nervous about taking an art history course, do not worry, you are in good hands. So this is an introductory course. We are going to talk about art in a historical context. We'll cover many different styles and art movements. And we're also going to cover different historical timelines so you can see how art changes. So as we're working through the course, you will develop ways to interpret art using your own opinion and also using research. You'll also learn how to write about art. So if you feel a little lost in the beginning or frustrated, or I don't know, maybe you just need some moral support, you can email me directly or you can request a Zoom appointment. So with Zoom, it might be, depending on you, you might find it easier to talk versus writing about a situation. So if you want to do that, you're welcome to leave your video off for your own privacy. It really is depending on what way you prefer to communicate with me in this course. So throughout this, I just want to make sure I cover some of the content on your Canvas homepage so you know exactly where everything is. I know that we're all undergoing an enormous amount of stress right now, so please do not suffer in silence if you run into any issues. If there's something technical on the course, like a link that's broken or an image that doesn't show up, let me know immediately and I will fix it for you. But I'm here to help. So if there's any time management help that you need, or like I said, if you fall behind, I am keeping certain things a little bit more lenient than normal, just so you don't feel more stress from taking an online course. Okay, enough of that. So as I go through this homepage, obviously you're watching this video right now, and this is my student view, so it may look a little bit different than yours, but you can see over here, there's a to-do list that shows you upcoming assignments and deadlines. And then you can also click course calendar if you want to see a monthly view of the course. So that's helpful for you. Sometimes they change, sometimes they don't. Canvas can be a little bit picky. But like I said, if you run into an issue, let me know immediately and I can try and fix it. So if we scroll down on our homepage, you can see some important links right here that you'll access frequently. So the syllabus is one of them. And right here, this is kind of a generic course syllabus that the university requires. So it's not very thorough. So if you scroll down from here, you can see a principal syllabus, and this is the one that I wrote for the course. So if you need to, you can download it right here, or you can view it throughout the course as needed. I highly suggest if you can get a printout or a hard copy of it, keep it nearby because you will be looking at this frequently. But on here, you have my contact information. Obviously, there's a time difference since I'm living in Germany, so you will need to keep that in mind. I've never had an issue contacting students within 24 hours or less by email, but with Zoom, we just need to be conscious of that time difference so I'm not, setting up Zoom sessions in the middle of the night. So if you want to do that, just let me know. We will figure out a good schedule that works for you. So I'm not going to cover all of this on our syllabus. You can read this on your own. But here you can see there's the required textbook, and I also added online lectures. And these are just condensed lectures that I would usually use when I'm teaching in person. But I figured since we're online, you can have access to that. So you have a really good amount of information to access in your open book assignments. So these will be included in your exams and quizzes. So just make sure that you look at those because I spent a lot of time working on them. But during the course, if you're taking a lot of classes or if you have important responsibilities and priorities, sometimes reading can fall behind. So I wanted to quickly talk about different apps that you can use. This is just one of many that are available for you. So if you are, struggling with your short-term memory, or sometimes you're reading something over and over again and it's just not absorbing in your brain, sometimes it helps to read first and then listen afterwards, just so it really sticks. And since we're depending on our short-term memory so heavily, something like this can help you. Now, you don't need to use a specific app. Some of them are already available as PDFs and other programs. You might already have something like this, but I just wanted to show this to you because, for example, my husband struggles with short-term memory loss. So having an app like this not only sped up his reading progress in his online classes, but he did absorb the information a little bit more. So if you're interested in doing that just for accessibility, I highly recommend it. But again, you don't need this specific one. Okay, back to what I was talking about. So under here, you can see the evaluation and grading broken down. I have it split into different sections, so please read through these. This has really good information on expectations and things that are going to happen in upcoming assignments. And most of these will be open book assignments for you just to keep that flexibility in this course, but you will have a proctored final exam at the end of the semester. So you want to make sure that you have Proctorio set up. I will be sending out information on this during the time in the course, so you'll have plenty of announcements as reminders, but that will be something that you will need to prepare for. I also have extra credit assignments. These are fun little assignments that are just allowing more creative outlets for you. Sometimes it's easy to look at art and study it, but not actually create art. So these are just fun printable little projects that you can do that will boost your grade if you're interested. And some of them are essay-based and others are like little art projects. So they're very accessible. You don't have to buy anything special for it. If you want to do it as a digital assignment, you can do that as well. Okay, just zooming down to our most important thing that I want to show you in our syllabus, and that is your course calendar. So I highly suggest printing out this syllabus for this very reason. Unless you're somebody that can use a planner really well and stay organized, this will need to be viewed quite often. So in this, you'll have your lesson plan. It shows you what module you're doing, what you're reading, and then also things that are due for you. So with your discussion board posts, you have your first post due by Thursday, and then responses to 2 other students by Friday. Now, some of these don't require you to respond to everybody, but most of them do. So if you need to, you can always look back at these notes and that will keep you on track. Okay, and this has everything that you're going to do in this course. So I try to make it as easy as possible for you so you don't have to struggle with deadlines. Okay, so I'm going to go back up to our homepage. Now, if you're using a different device, like the app that's provided through Canvas for like things like your iPad, most likely you will be using modules that look like this. So this has a breakdown of the same modules that we're going to go over in just a minute, and it has all of the files available for you and the links. So in each section, I tried to make sure at the very top you had things that you may need to access frequently, like your research paper and course content links. But then everything else is broken down into weekly modules. So this will link back to our page, and then you have the files for it as well. So like I said, it might just look different on whatever device you're using. But if you have any issues accessing these through here, let me know. I'm going to say that over and over again, because the more you can tell me if you're struggling, the better that we can, and more quickly we can fix an issue. So you'll have your quizzes also listed here as well, and they will unlock throughout the course. So some will show you the unlock right here. That way you know how to prepare for the class. And I usually keep 2 open at the same time in case some students need to work ahead or, just want to look at the readings earlier on. Okay, so as we go back to our home page, if you don't want to look at the modules that way, you can just scroll down and then you can click the modules through here. So you can click that, and then I'm just going to open it here because sometimes they take a little while to load. So this shows you an introduction of what we're going to be talking about throughout the week, and then also your reading assignments. So you can see here how there's a preview option. Sometimes it just takes a minute or two to upload, especially if I have lots of pictures in there. So if you're patient, you can read through the desktop and scroll through there. Most of these are really quick reads, so you can just get the gist of each chapter, and then you still want to read your textbook chapter too. And most of these chapters are quick anyway, because there's so many pictures. So don't feel like you're too overwhelmed with the reading. On here, I also wanted to show you something that you will access frequently as well. This is your visual analysis guideline. And this is a great tool to use if you feel like you're having writer's block, or if you have never written about art before, it might feel kind of overwhelming. So you can ask yourself questions like this that are throughout it to help you develop your writing for things like discussion board posts and your quizzes and exams. So of course, if you feel like you need more assistance with writing, there is a writing tutoring program that is available through Canvas as well. And then you also have video links here. Those are helpful if you just want a little bit more information to help you absorb that content. And for me, I love reading and also watching videos just to get that visual aspect of learning. And some people just are able to really condense that information down to a palatable amount. Here you also have in these weekly modules other things that are needed for your assignments. So you have your discussion board link here, and I always include a description in case you want to work ahead a little bit on your writing without just posting in the thread. And then there will be other things available through each week. So you have all of these links that are easy to access. Okay. The last few things I want to show you are the online tutoring lab. If you click that and click modules, it has a breakdown of all of the online resources available to you. If you want to get a writing tutor for your final research paper, you can email them directly. There are just so many good resources on there if you want to just scroll through there and remember to use that as needed. Lastly, you have grades, registration, and Zoom. With Zoom, you don't need to necessarily use this link. If you're having an appointment, you can just use your app, and I will send you the link for our Zoom session. And that's pretty much it. You can always go to important course information here. And this is just a good breakdown of things that you may need to access frequently. One thing I would like to say, though, in this course is that there is a disclaimer. And sometimes with art, you know, it encompasses everything, including the bad. So usually with art, I try to describe it as like things that you don't necessarily want to talk about at the dinner table. So things like politics and religion, gender and sexuality, racial stereotypes, identity crisis, like all these things are really just difficult to talk about in general. It may make you uncomfortable, but it's just because that, again, art encompasses every aspect of life. So there may be things that you may not like or you feel uncomfortable with. Just try and push through that and try and look at it through a historical lens. So if you ever feel like something is really too challenging, just write me directly and we can try and figure out a plan for that. I've never had any issue with this in my course, but I do want to put that out there because we all have different interpretations of art and our own belief systems and opinions. So just be, civil, be respectful to each other. Again, all my discussion boards have been fine, but I mean, there are things that you might just feel a little uncomfortable with in the class. So that is it for this. I hope you enjoyed the course. Please be sure to complete your week 1 assignments by their deadlines, especially that course acknowledgement, because that will be something that the university needs. And again, if you have any questions, just reach out to me. I look forward to working with you. Thank you so much.